When the moon cast its silver veil over the towers of Zarzuela, and the corridors of memory echoed with my quiet footsteps, I knew the ache within my chest could no longer be hidden by protocol or polished grace. It was not a burden I could name to my mother, nor something I could discuss with my father during our walks through the palace gardens. Love came not with trumpets nor fanfare, but as a gentle shadow upon the marble of my heart. I did not know when it began. Perhaps in the breath between words when you first spoke to me without fear, or in the moment your gaze held mine, not because of who I was, but because of what we felt, both unspoken and undeniable. Love entered my royal life like a whisper that grew louder, not a storm, but a sunrise. I did not choose it, but I welcomed it, tender and trembling, like petals in the wind. I was not taught to surrender, but in your eyes I found no need to guard my crown. I watched the seasons change like rituals around us, Madrid's chill settling into spring, the warmth of May arriving like applause. My life is framed in ceremony and legacy, yet what we shared lived outside the public script. Between rehearsals and uniforms, between speeches I gave to a world watching in, moments I carved out for myself, I began writing you in the margins of my days, not with ink, but with glances, with thoughts I held onto in silence. The longing was quiet, but persistent, growing roots in the hollows where duty could not reach. In you I found something I never expected, a defiance not against the throne, but against emptiness. You reminded me that I was more than a future monarch. I was a girl, learning the language of longing, learning how to breathe in the presence of someone who saw through the lace and lineage. I became less alone. I became myself not through rebellion, but through the purity of feeling something sacred, something true. At night I would close the pages of constitutional law and listen to the ticking of the antique clock, wondering if you were awake and if your thoughts also wandered to me. In the stillness I practiced the words I might say if we had more time, if we belonged to a world that allowed us to walk openly beneath the city lights without the burden of watchful eyes. I wondered what your hand might feel like in mine, not in secrecy but in sunlight. I crafted letters in my mind, never written, never sent, about what I saw in you, strength without show, gentleness without weakness, and a quiet knowing that felt like home. I imagined you beside me not just in fleeting moments, but in the future, seated in balconies of time, we might yet every time I imagined it too clearly, I was reminded of the golden cage I carry. Not a prison, but a place from which some freedoms do not bloom. Even so I loved you, and I hope. The world knows me through titles, Infanta, Princess of Asturias, heir to the throne, but it does not know the silence I carry between those names. It does not hear the softness of my heart when I think of you, or how your voice, even in memory, brings calm where no decree could. You once asked me why I chose this path so fully, why I didn't run from the expectations. I told you then, as I tell you now, it is not that I did not wish for freedom, but that I believe in building something beautiful from within the life I was given. What you didn't see was how deeply I wished you were by my side in that building. I do not ask for escape. I ask only that the stars we shared, the ones we once counted in quiet corners, remain ours, even when the world forgets. If I must lead alone, I will. But oh, how I wish leadership did not mean leaving behind the person who made me feel most human, most alive. Sometimes I dream of a country not drawn on maps, but formed of the nights we whispered promises into the dark. In that country, my crown does not weigh heavy. In that country, I laugh without looking over my shoulder. I dance without choreography, speak without pre-written words. You are there, and the wind carries your name through orange blossoms and olive grove. We live not in exile from the world, but in a version of it that makes space for truth, not just tradition. I return to that dream often, like a pilgrim, searching for sanctuary in memories that haven't faded. I wonder, in the life you are now living, do you still carry fragments of us? Do you still hear my voice when the rain falls like it did that last time? Or has time, with its patient hands, closed the door I still hold open in my soul? I do not ask you to wait, only to remember, only to know that in the silence after applause, you are the echo I still listen for. They say royal blood runs cold, trained for diplomacy and distance. But I have felt warmth flood my face at the mere thought of you. I have felt my heart defy rhythm when you entered the room. I have memorized the shape of your absence and wrapped my longing in state dinners and military salutes. And yet, there are moments no duty can overwrite. The way you once said my name, as though it belonged only to you. Or how you never bowed, not because you were defiant, but because you believed in the girl before the princess. In you I tasted the life I may never fully live. And yet I am grateful, even if only for a chapter. You were mine, and I, yours. Love does not demand permanence to be real. It needs only truth. And in every breath I stole beside you, I found nothing but truth. I carry it with me still. Into every balcony wave, every national anthem. You are my secret anthem, my remembered light. I sometimes wonder what songs you now listen to, and if any of them bring me back to you, even for a moment. In my world, every step is choreographed, every smile measured. Yet love, when it found me, was wild, unscripted. It taught me that even a life hemmed by tradition can hold rebellion not of crown, but of heart. The rebellion of loving someone completely, silently, endlessly. I never asked you to understand my world, and yet you did. You never asked me to choose, but I felt the choice in every goodbye. Do you remember the field outside the academy, the way the wind played with our words, and we spoke in half-truths and hopeful glances? I do. I return there in my mind, when the burden grows heavy. It is not memory, it is refuge. I don't know if you read the articles, if you watch the images of me that flash across newsrooms. But know this, behind every headline is a girl who once loved you with everything she dared give. There will come a time perhaps when I will speak publicly of love, not yours, not mine, but of its place in our world. I will stand on podiums and tell future generations to love bravely, even when the world says no, even when it is inconvenient or impossible, because I have lived it, and because in the quiet ache of our parting, I learned what love is not. It is not selfish, it is not loud, it is not always victorious, but it is real. It is the way I still pause at the scent of your cologne in a passing crowd, the way I still look for your smile in photographs I should not keep. I have lived 1,000 lifetimes in your absence, and yet I would still choose the same path, the one where I met you, even if just for a moment, even if only to lose you, because in that loss, I found the part of me that feels, that dares, that leads not from legacy, but from love. Today as I write this in my mind, speaking only to the night and to you, I see the dawn peeking through the lace curtains. It is quiet still, the city not yet awake, but I am, and I carry your name, like a sacred vow. I will lead as they ask me to, but with a heart softened by love, with eyes that once looked into yours, and learned the difference between being seen and being known. Until the light returned, you were my darkness, not in sorrow but in shelter, the place where truth could rest. And as light returns again, I step into it, not untouched, but transformed. Your love was never a detour, it was a map, one I follow still, not toward you perhaps, but toward the woman I am becoming. And if someday our paths cross again, know that the girl you knew walks beside me still, not forgotten, not erased, but immortal, in memory, in silence, in the light that has now returned.